Andrew Hogue here for andrewhogue.com, and as we know, we are hit with a hell of a lot of different bands touring Australia, many from some parts of Europe that everyone's aware of, Scandinavia and also the US. But we actually haven't been graced with a band from Israel. We're talking about Orphaned making their way to Australia shortly for the very first time, and an incredibly unique band at that. So make sure you get to those shows. We're going to be chatting now with main man Kobi from the band to talk all about their up-and-coming Australian tour and the wonderful world that is Orphaned on a metal crusade to unite all is one. G'day, Kobi. Welcome to andrewhogue.com. How you doing?
I'm very good, Andrew. Hello to all the listeners, and everything's great. Looking forward to meeting you all.
And again, as I mentioned, we are hit pretty heavily these days with tours. It's almost like the UK now. Every band's touring here, and sometimes these bands have been to Australia 4 or 5 times, which is great, especially if you're a certain fan of a certain band. But it's always good to have a band that has never come to Australia, because most of the time when the bands come for the very first time, they're just as excited as the fans are. So I'm sure you're pretty much in that same ballpark when it comes to Orphaned's first Australian tour. What are you looking forward to about gracing our wonderful land?
Well, that's true. I'm very, very excited. Probably even more than the fans. But I'm going to measure that when we come there. It's very exciting for us to explore new regions and countries. And, coming from the Middle East, a place where let me put it this way, where we are worried all the time, constantly, because of conflict, because of wars or terror, coming to a place where all the people are constantly saying no worries, that alone is very inspiring for me. And I'm coming for a peaceful land, and that's really great to see the way you guys live and to take an inspiration for that, to what we're trying to achieve here in the Middle East. So I can't wait to share with all our fans our Middle Eastern music and our heavy metal that has been created in the Middle East. As well as I can't wait to be inspired from the life that you have back there in Australia. So it's going to be a very interesting meeting, that's for sure.
Well, when you said about, the conflicts, I don't think many, American bands and or Australian bands would really understand exactly what it's like to be, A, living in your region, and B, being in a heavy metal band. Now, Orphaned's been at it for well over 20 years. Tell us some of the stories that you've been confronted with or experienced over the years of the band's career in your, homeland, playing this sort of music and dealing with the constant fear and conflicts that come with just being a citizen, let alone being a heavy metal band. It's something that we really can't imagine in our, as we say, free land. So yeah, just divulge on some stories. We'd love to hear them.
Well, the story of Orphaned is one of the most amazing stories in the Middle East, because the Middle East, as everyone, including Australians, know, is a conflict area between basically Israelis and Arabs, fighting on the Holy Land and the Promised Land. And the Middle East is full. There is a lot of weapon in the Middle East, a lot of bad vibes, a lot of threats between leaders waving, Arab leaders saying that they will wipe Israel. I was born to a life where I'm always living, whether if it's history of leaders who tried to wipe the Jewish nation, or even up today, where Iranian leaders are saying that they will wipe the face of Israel from the earth. I was always living under those threats. On the other hand, Arabs or Palestinians, they were always living under Israeli occupation, because they were here as well, while the Israelis were spread all over the world. So it's a very deep, complicated story, while both sides, at the end of the day, are victims. Being a metal band, when I started to play heavy metal music, I found something very sincere with metal music. A music that doesn't try to be radio friendly or doesn't try to hit the collective, and just trying to be true and speak about those important subjects. And that's why I formed the metal band. During the years living in those conflicts, if you take an Orphaned song from 20 years ago and a song that we just recently wrote, that will be the same themes that we wrote and write. Because we think that music can be an amazing cure to people in those regions. I came to a situation where after 23 years of a career of Orphaned, we have succeeded to become the most famous Israelis among Arabs. And I'm talking, we succeed to do more than rabbis, imams, or politicians. How strange it is to be an Israeli band that has dozens of Arab followers. That's not Manchester United and Liverpool fans who are changing their team. This is blood enemies. This is people who have been killing each other, who have been on a conflict, and people have died in both sides. So how can it be that Palestinians will follow an Israeli band? And that's because we have succeeded to use the power of music, and especially heavy metal, the sincerity of heavy metal, to bring people together in ways that no one in Israel has succeeded to do it before. That's simply a utopia.
Do you find that both sides are also, taking in, the lyrical subject of the band's message as well? Because as you mentioned, the unity of heavy music, as they say, unites us all. Do you find that both sides are responding to what the band's message really is all about, which is unity in itself?
Of course. And I was very surprised at the beginning, because when we started the band back in the early 90s, I didn't have on my plans to gain Arab fans, I didn't even know that Arab metal exists in those countries. So that wasn't a part of our plan. That was just something that happened throughout the nature of things, or from the themes and subjects that we deal with. And that was one of the greatest shocks in my life. I mean, in the band career, we had a hiatus of 7 years where the band were not active. And then I had the first life-changing moment. It was after the band was already exist for a decade, and the band was not active. And I got this email one night, and I opened the email, and I see that it's a mail from an Arab guy. I could recognize it from the name. And the guy is writing inside the email, the content says that, "I have a gift for you, please open the video file." The first impression was that maybe the guy is sending me a virus or something. Yeah. Because why should an Arab guy write an Israeli guy and send him a video file? But I have decided to open the file. And I opened it, and it was a video file with Orphaned's music in the background, and I couldn't see the face of the guy, but he was showing the sleeve of his t-shirt, pulling it off, and I could see that he had a tattoo of Orphaned, and he was also saying that he is Palestinian. And I was leaning back in my chair. I was completely shocked. Aren't we killing each other for decades? I mean, what the fuck are you doing a tattoo of an Israeli band? You're Palestinian. How can you do it? And that was a life-changing moment. And ever since that moment, I realized what we have created. I wasn't aware of the power of what we're doing. And that was a life-changing moment. And ever since, we are pushing with all our power to do that. We are touring with Palestinian bands. We have dozens of Arab fans, whether if it's from Syria, from Egypt, from Lebanon, from Jordan, from Iran, all those countries and borders that we literally cannot go and play for them. We cannot enter those countries. Ironically, we can go all the way to Australia, but we cannot go right around the corner to play to our Arabian fans. Luckily, having the internet, communicating with them on Facebook. I mean, you should just see what happened in our Facebook page when we greet the Arab fans to a happy holiday if they have a Muslim holiday. That's just outstanding, the achievements that we have succeeded to do. And Orphaned Land has taught me more than anyone else, more than any rabbi, more than any imam, more than any politician or leader that we had. Orphaned Land had been my mentor just for teaching me and showing me what we could achieve with music. And I have grown to understand the sad reality that our politicians and even religious leaders, they don't really want to set things up. Because if we, the simple people, succeed to do it so easily with distorted guitars and growlings and singing, how the hell they cannot fix it? We're touring with Palestinian bands. We're living with Palestinians in a tour bus, not in the same landscape or city or building. We share a tour bus together. We make coffee to each other. We clean after the other. we live together as brothers. It's very simple to overcome, and that's what I have learned from my heavy metal band and not from anyone else.
What reaction have you had from your family, even, grandparents and other sort of relatives who have been through, amazing and hellish conflicts over the years in your homeland, and obviously seeing, I guess, somewhat of a revolution that you're creating through your music? Are they sort of starting to sort of wake up to changing their thought process about the fact that unity does exist and it can work through different mediums like music?
Well, first of all, the family's reaction is always ambivalent, because on the one hand, they are very proud on what we succeed to achieve. That's a fact. Everyone sees that utopia that we are creating. There was a big TV exposure in Israel when the TV came with us to film a show we did in Turkey, and all the fans from Arab countries, they came to see us, and it was like a great story. Everyone in Israel saw that, and people are still stopping me on the street and telling me, listen, we don't like heavy metal, but you made us so proud. You showed us things that we wouldn't believe that are possible. Arabs following an Israeli band all the way to Turkey just to see their show. And on the other hand, my family are constantly afraid because we're touching those sensitive area zones in a conflict. So if we're changing something, that means that we even might piss off some people. It could be religious people, it could be political extremists from both sides that doesn't really connect with coexistence so my family are driving between being proud and amazed than being very worried for our life, for example, because we're standing out there on the stage, exposed completely to anyone who would maybe want to hurt us. But what can I do? Stay home? I mean,
yeah.
there isn't any other choice. And I really know that we were doing something good, something right. I am moved from the fact that we are succeeding to do that, and I don't see any other choice than going on and do that. We are inheriting or inspiring the people of our generation and maybe inheriting to the next generation.
As the band's growing, do you guys, any of the members, fear for their safety? As you mentioned, when you're playing shows, there is that possibility due to a lot of the extremists in your region. I mean, do you fear for your own life in certain places when you guys tour?
I will tell you a short story. A few years ago, we went to play on a festival in Turkey. I keep on mentioning Turkey because Turkey is the only Muslim country that we can go and play, and Arab fans, they can do all the way to Turkey, which is close to the Middle East, and they can come and see our shows. So we were headlining that festival in Turkey, and it was consisting thousands of people in the crowd. They were from all the Arab countries in the area. Now, that was a surrealistic picture. The crowd consists all Arab countries, while the band on stage is Israeli. And I was mentioning that on stage, and then when the song ended, I just thought to myself, what if there is one lunatic in the crowd? Because you only need one lunatic. Mm-hmm. That's enough.
Yep.
What if there is one of them, and we are standing on the stage, really exposed to every fire that will come from any direction? What will happen if I will now get a bullet in my head in the middle of a song? Those thoughts are sometimes coming to mind because we're human beings, and that's just thoughts. They come to mind. Then you know what? It was my birthday that day, and all the Arabian fans started to sing me happy birthday. Just when I had that thought, they never knew that I had that thought in my mind. They sang me happy birthday, and I realized that moment that those thoughts are sometimes just come to scare us or to put fears or seeds of fear. We're doing the right thing, and I realized it back then on the stage. If we're doing the right thing, if we're doing good, I shouldn't have fears. Whatever will happen, will happen. I'm doing the good thing. I'm doing something good for the region, for my future children, for the next generations, for a region filled with hate and weapons and wars. I'm playing on a heavy metal band and we're doing great stuff. I should never have that thought. If something will happen, then it could be the same as I could be run off by a truck when I go out to the street. I shouldn't be worried about it. I should just do whatever we do, and I should do it with all power and all strength, and that's what we do.
Well, like I said, the band's been very consistent over the years of keeping things together, considering all the things that happen in your region. Now, of course, you're the other co-founder of the group, Yossi Sassi, has actually recently left the band as of this year, I do believe. Fill us in on how that dynamic has sort of changed the band in any way. How's things now for you in Orphaned Land without your sort of co-founder being Yossi?
Well, the great thing about Orphaned Land is that there isn't any one mastermind in the band. Orphaned Land had been an idea. And the reason that our music is so eclectic, I mean, if you take a song like New Jerusalem, Code Word Uprising, and Sapari, the three of them are completely different than the others, so eclectic. And it's mainly because of the reason that everyone in Orphaned Land is a partner of the creation. Orphaned Land is an idea where if you will join tomorrow Orphaned Land, you will be a part of the creation. So having Yossi out of the band, it's always unfortunate. He was a friend, and we shared great moments together. And we're still friends up until that moment. But it happens to many of the bands that dreams are changing. You want to go to different paths in your life. That happens to bigger bands. That happens to other people as well. And we have to respect that. For me, Orphaned Land always, for me and Uri, the bass player, which we are the really early beginners of the band. It was me and Uri who started the band. For us, Orphaned Land had always been the main thing. We never wanted any solo career or any other side projects. It was all about Orphaned Land, and it's always unfortunate that a band member is leaving the band. But I always know that the band is bigger than the band is bigger than the sums. Orphaned Land is bigger than each member of the band. So Orphaned Land still exists and will continue to do everything with full force, because Orphaned Land is an idea where everyone is partners for the creation. So it's nothing left for us just to wish Yossi all the best, and we're still friends, and we cherish those moments that we had together. And everyone went to his own way, and we continue with full force, because that's what Orphaned Land is. That's what it always be. Even if I will leave Orphaned Land tomorrow, Orphaned Land can still exist. It's an idea.
Well, we can't wait to see the band in full force in Australia for the very first time. Let's check out those tour dates. The first show's on Thursday the 20th at the Factory Theatre in Sydney. And then there's a free acoustic show happening on Friday the 21st of March. That's at 12:30pm sharp. And that is happening at the Deakin University on the Burwood campus on Friday the 21st. Which is more of a stripped-down, unplugged sort of show. And then on Saturday, the 22nd, at the Esplanade at the Gershon Room in Melbourne, and finishing on Sunday, the 23rd, at the Rev in Brisbane. We can get you to say a couple of last words, Kobi, to the Australian fans. And again, we are looking forward to seeing such an eclectic and unique act that is Orphaned Land finally gracing the Australian shores for the very, very first time. And also choose one of your favourite Orphaned Land songs of all time. We have all your music in our station library. So final words and final track.
Thank you very much. So first, I want to thank you for your support and for telling our story. I want to invite all Australian fans of heavy metal in general to come and see an outstanding experience of heavy metal from the Middle East. I can assure you that the story of Orphaned Land, a heavy metal band from the Middle East, will make you, as metal fans, you will be proud to be a metal fan, knowing the wonders that we succeed to do in conflict and war zones in the Middle East with heavy metal music. Check it out. Come and see us playing live. We promise you a big celebration and a party of heavy metal where the crowd and the band are communicating together. Our show is really involving the crowd in the show, and it's going to be something you will not forget. Mark my words. The song that I will choose would be, of course, maybe the opener of the new album, All Is One, because that really reflects our ideas and themes and give you an impression of the power of our music. So I will choose the song All Is One.
Awesome. Thanks again, Kobi. Look forward to having you on our soil very, very shortly. Let's check out some Orphaned Land now here on andrewhogue.com. Thanks, Kobi.
Thanks, Andrew. See you all soon. Bye-bye.